Most people think burnout happens because someone works too much. Well, maybe that too, don't get me wrong. So the typical advice is simple: take the time off, work less, get more rest, but many high performers discover something frustrating. I'll be honest here. I had a burnout. I was working and working and working 12, 14, 16 hours a day, including weekends. And when I stopped working so much and I was reducing my hours, burnout or the exhaustion didn't just go away. And I remember talking to different people, and they were saying to me that they have problems over months or even years to get back to where they were, if in any time they ever did. So even after resting, exhaustion often remains. Motivation is still low, focus is still difficult, and work that once felt meaningful suddenly feels heavy and hard. So the real question becomes, how do you actually recover from burnout? One of the biggest surprises about burnout is that it often affects the most capable people: entrepreneurs, leaders, and high responsible professionals. At first, this seems strange. If someone is disciplined and motivated, why would they burn out faster than others? The answer is not about working harder. It is about how the mind handles responsibility. When someone deeply cares about their work and they're committed, their brain rarely disconnects completely. Even outside working hours, part of their attention remains engaged with unresolved problems, decisions, and expectations. And I can tell this from my own life. I was dreaming my cases when I was a lawyer and an attorney. And I was proud of it in a way. I remember waking up at 2 a.m. or 3 a.m. in the morning and just having a solution to some problem. And I was actually proud on how effective I was. But I didn't realize that my mind was working 24/7. And that's the important part, how to turn it off, because otherwise burnout will happen, well, most of the times. So project continue running in the background of the mind. Deadlines remain mentally active. Decisions continue circulating. And over time, this creates something many people underestimate: constant cognitive load. On the outside, it may look like someone is resting, but internally, the brain is still working. And eventually, that system runs out of energy. Burnout is not simply tiredness. It happens when the mind operates under sustained psychological pressure without enough recovery. When effort continues but recovery never fully happens, tension slowly accumulates. Our nervous system is on alert 24 hours. At first, the signs are subtle: reduced motivation, mental fatigue, difficult concentration. But over time, the system begins to struggle. Clarity declines. Decision making becomes harder. Even simple tasks start to feel mentally expensive. This is when people often start procrastinating more. Not because they suddenly became lazy, but because the brain is trying to conserve its remaining energy. This is why recovering from burnout is not about forcing more discipline. It requires a structural rest. Instead of pushing harder, the goal is to restore the conditions that allow energy to return. The first step is reducing cognitive load. When the brain constantly tracks unfinished tasks and responsibilities, it cannot recover. Externalizing tasks and simplifying decisions reduces this pressure. The second step is restoring recovery cycles. The nervous system needs periods where the mind is not solving problems, making decisions, or anticipating future demands. Without these cycles, stress continues accumulating. The third step is separating identity from output. Many high performers connect their self worth to productivity. I know I was that kind of a person. When burnout reduces performance, this creates additional internal pressure. Recovery becomes easier when effort is seen as temporary rather than measure of personal value. What is our personal value? This is so important, and it's really deep rooted inside of us. It's not like I woke up one morning and said my value is in regards to my success and my business. No way. I had to do a lot of analyzing, a lot of outside work with friends, coaches, and therapists to see that this is a problem of mine. And finally, recovery requires rebuilding energy gradually. Burnout recovery is not like flipping a switch. Energy returns step by step. And that is what I was talking before. Short focused work sessions followed by real recovery allow the brain to rebuild capacity. Burnout is not a failure of discipline. It is a signal that the system supporting your effort has been under pressure for too long. When effort continues without recovery, even the most capable people eventually reach their limits. But burnout also reveals something important. It shows you where the structure of work and recovery needs to change. When that structure changes, energy returns, clarity improves, and meaningful work becomes sustainable again. But like I said before, recovery, once you are in the burnout process, it's a lot harder than if you planned it before. So if you see some signs, then start working on rest and recovery as soon as possible. If you're already in the burnout, then I would suggest you seek some outer help as well. It is so hard just to go with the flow and to fix it while you're doing it. Believe me, I've tried. I didn't have so deep burnout in a way because I saw the signs and I was talking to my colleagues, lawyers at the time, and one colleague of mine, she was talking about her burnout and she was completely flat. For 6 months, she couldn't get out of the bed. And that was something that opened my eyes years ago. And I started to work more. I was doing meditation. I was doing a lot of rest. But the stress and the feelings just didn't go away completely. So this is a process. You have to work on it. And if this topic resonates with you, you can explore the deeper written breakdown link below.